Today on the channel, I'd like to talk to you about a horn of which supposedly only 100 grace the face of this earth, and with names attached to it such as Byron Autrey, Zigmant Kanstul, and the one and only Doc Severinsen. You're not going to want to miss this. How's it going, y'all? It's Sam here from the Samuel Plays Brass channel. I appreciate you tuning in, and I hope you're all doing well today. I've unearthed some old footage that now dates back to around a year ago. I was working at Clearwater Music and it was a pretty normal day, but my boss told me, "Hey Sam, take 5, try this horn out and let me know if it has any valve issues." Spoiler alert, it did. But in any case, I took it into a practice room, took 5, just played around on it a little bit, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I was holding something pretty special in my hands. I certainly didn't recognize the horn, and I couldn't tell much about it just from the bell inscription, but nonetheless, I couldn't shake the feeling. I recorded a few first takes of a couple different excerpts, and then promptly forgot about the footage for an entire year. But I'm very glad I got those first takes, because it gives me an excuse to talk about something very, very cool on the channel. Let me present to you the Destino by Doc Severinsen. This horn definitely took me a little bit of goose chasing, so I'd like to summarize my findings here for you because it has some really cool history. It was designed by the famed Byron Autrey for Doc Severinsen, the arguably more famed, and then it was manufactured by Zigmant Kanstul of Kanstul Musical Instruments. Autrey reported putting a huge amount of effort and care into this 3-star model until Doc was happy with the sound, and Doc in general had a notorious sort of reputation for constantly tweaking things and constantly needing changes, which led to tension between him and Zig down the line, but nonetheless, Autrey persisted until he had Doc's express approval. This turned out to be the 3-star Destino model. There are supposedly a 1 and a 5-star model, but I've yet to ever see those, and I don't know how common those are. The 1-star was sort of the original. It was based on Doc's French Besson trumpet, and then this 3-star was supposedly based on a prototype New York Bach from 1930. There were supposedly, once again, only 100 3-star Destinos ever made, and this one says 024 on the back of the second valve casing, leading me to think it is the 24th of 100 ever made. Now, if you're a veteran of the trumpet sphere, the specs alone of this instrument are unlikely to wow you. The bore is a very standard medium-large 0.460 inches at the valve section. Doc didn't exactly put a whopping 500 bore on this instrument or anything. And the bell flare is 4 7/8 inch in diameter, a little smaller than what I usually play on, but pretty typical. It's a one-piece bell construction, so it definitely resonates nicely. But again, the specs are very much standard as far as they go. There are a couple interesting features if we take a closer look. First of all, on the front side of the first valve slide, we might see that harmonic balancer, that circular piece there, that adds a little bit of mass and kind of tweaks the harmonic structure of the instrument in certain ways. Of course, that seems like a very Doc thing to do, a very fine adjustment, but pretty cool nonetheless. And then if we turn the instrument around to the back side, we'll notice the third slide has a fairly wide brace construction, and then a dump slide and a water key. Now, although retroactively researching the specs did not impress me, actually playing the horn in the practice room last year definitely did. This horn has a very smooth and clean playing experience with a very strong, softer side, something I really like to see in instruments I use on a frequent basis. The high register feels wide open with fairly good slots. But overall, I would say it still feels a little bit more at home, playing more soulfully and softly within the staff. I think it still screams very well. It's just that some horns really like to live in that middle register, and they just have a really golden sound quality there, which is what we'll address next. If I might make a generalization of the trumpet sound, on one end of the spectrum you have the Vincent Bach Model 37 Stradivarius trumpet. Modern Bach trumpets are made to deliver the Bach sound effortlessly and with very little deviation. It's very helpful for when you're playing in an orchestra, for instance. On the other end of the spectrum, you have, I find, a lot of Kanstul-made trumpets that have a very complex and nuanced tonal palette that requires a lot more input from the player to decide what sort of sound you're going to produce when, at the benefit of increased flexibility. This I certainly find to be the case with the Destino 3-star model. I think it's naturally got a very rich and present sound, especially in the mid to lower frequencies, but you're able to steer it in a whole lot of different directions. Like I said, the Destino sound is complex. It's got a lot of depth and darkness to it, but you can really push it to brighten up. But what I notice is even when you do push it, the sound doesn't tend to become very edgy. Some people might disagree with me on this, but I consider that to be a very strong point when it comes to the tone of a trumpet, and for this reason I like many Kanstuls that I play. So bearing all this in mind, I don't think it's a surprise that this horn received the green light from Doc Severinsen. It is a very strong choice for just about any genre or setting I can think of. I don't see it being tied down in any particular area, and it's a very, very free-blowing and fun to play horn. It's a shame they're so rare because I really enjoyed playing this one. I hope you've enjoyed learning about it, and if you want to see more instrument reviews, you can find the playlist up in the top right corner. Until next time, this has been Samuel Plays Brass talking about the 3-star Destino by Doc Severinsen, and we'll see you on the flip side. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you want to support the creation of bigger and better content on the Samuel Plays Brass channel, have your name featured right here, and a whole host of other perks and benefits, then please consider pledging your support at patreon.com/SamuelPlaysBrass. For now, you can find more videos in the end screen cards to my left.